Hello everyone, and happy Collectors Week. Today I want to share with you my experience collecting what is, to me, my favorite thing I've ever collected. Not just in Flesh and Blood, but in, I guess, ever. And that is pirate cards from this wonderful game. If you didn't guess that before, spoiler alert, it was a pretty easy guess. I have been collecting pirate cards since the most recent High Seas set came out, and I want to share with you what I've collected so far and how my mindset on collecting has changed. And we'll go ahead and start here. Yes, that's right. We'll start with the front of the binder with none other than Treasure Island in the beautiful cold foil Marvel. This macro is amazing. It should be in the main game. It is incredible to look at, and so I decided to put it front and center in the binder, surrounded by a bunch of the wonderful Marvel gold pieces that you get out of the treasure packs. And like I said, I've been collecting a lot of pirate cards, and this whole process has really changed my entire mindset on collecting up until this point. So as we turn to the next page, I'll describe some of the things that we see on it. I'm sure you can follow along as well, but I do want to point this one out. This is a lot of fun. So on this page, this is Scurv page. So I did a ring around with gold and with rum. And this Scurv is special because this Scurv was the secret Scurv that was carried by none other than Brian Gottlieb through security and in his pocket. That's why it looks a little bit worse for wear, but I'm not going to lie. I actually kind of love it. So I kept it, and I put it front and center on its own page. I don't care that it's beat up. If I'm going to be playing Scurv in Project Blue or in Commoner or anything like that, I think you can play him in Commoner, right? I will definitely be playing that copy. And do want to point out, this is not a complete collection. One of the things that I've found that I've really enjoyed about collecting is the actual aspect of collecting these cards, and that it's not really a finished product. And I think there's something beautiful about that. But speaking of beautiful, we'll go ahead and go on to these pages, and gotta highlight the very first and perhaps most fancy of the pieces that we'll be looking at today, and that is, of course, Conqueror of the High Seas, as my camera struggles to figure out how to focus. This is that's why I gotta upgrade this webcam so that I can get maybe something a little nicer, a little bit more easy to focus, but this is just a beautiful piece. And as I started collecting all of these cards, it sort of shifted my mindset about what I cared about in Flesh and Blood. Up until this point, I'd really been collecting sets. I'd been collecting like play sets of cards, I'd been buying a bunch of boxes and trading for Majestics that I didn't open, and basically just trying to complete sets. And there's nothing wrong with that, and I certainly enjoyed doing it at the time, but as I've gone on, I've started to hone in on what I enjoy about the game: heroes, mechanics, playstyles, all that sort of stuff. And when Pirates came out and I really got to sink my teeth into this set, I realized that there was a bit of a shift that was going on in my mind, that a lot of the cards and a lot of the shiny things that I'd collected up to that point weren't really doing much for me. They were just kind of sitting around and I wasn't enjoying them. And I realized, oh, these cards, and this one specifically, Tip the Barkeep, is probably my favorite card in this entire binder, which is a big thing to say, but it looks like my wife. And so, I mean, I'm a big fan of her, so why would I also not like this card? Also, I think this is one of the most wonderful spot cold foilings on any card in any card game I've ever seen. I think this is incredible. I think they did a perfect job. I mean, it's a piece of art. That's one of the things that I think I'm really appreciating about doing this whole thing, is that every time I look at these cards, I realize how artfully done they are. Obviously, it's art, but it's not just the art. It's the overall aesthetic of the card. It's the card border. It's where they put the foiling, where they don't put the foiling. And over time, I've started to, as I've collected these cards, I've started to change what. It's affecting the way that I think about the presentation itself. Like, I'll look at these cards and I'll go, I bet you these cards would look better in a card sleeve that's gold. Hence why the loan sharks up there are in gold. By the way, most of these cards are going to be in gold. If they are cold foil, I've put them in gold. easy color coding, and it also looks nicer with that parchment texture, that parchment effect that they did with these cold foils. If it's in blue, it's just a simple rainbow foil from the main set. And funnily enough, like I was saying, as I was collecting these cards, I was viewing them less as individual cards and more as a collection and more as like a display and an enjoyment piece. So I sleeved them all up in blue, and I thought that was pretty awesome. And then I was like, well, what if I sleeved them in black? Because then they would pop off the page, it would really accentuate what they all look like one by one. And I started doing that, and about halfway through sleeving every single card, I realized it doesn't have the same effect. There's not like this sort of encapsulation that the blue provided. And then I thought, well, I mean, there's a gold foil border. Why don't I just sleeve them all in gold? So yes, that's right. Because of aesthetics and because I wanted the collection to be something I truly enjoyed looking at, I sleeved them about 3 times, which is pretty hilarious. By the way, I point out the HMS Marlin there because I think that's my favorite of those 3 boats. I think it has the most beautiful cold foiling of the 3. I think all 3 of them are fantastic, and I am, for some reason, missing 2 seafloor salvages. And now we come to the first page where we've completed the entire collection, if you will. I was realizing as I was starting to collect these cards, I was trading for many of these cards, and I did buy a fair bit as well, but I realized that a lot of the cards that I'd had up until this point, and cards that I was trying to get in foil, I didn't really care about. Like, I was collecting them, but I was doing it from a position where, I'm going to collect them because they're shiny, and I'm probably not going to play this hero or maybe even this class, but at least I have the cold foil, right? And I realized with this set that I care about the cards themselves, and I care about the class itself, and I know I'm going to play these cards going forward as my camera, again, struggles to figure out how to focus on saltwater swell because there's no main figure in the foreground for it to focus on. Funnily enough, that yellow saltwater swell that's super out of focus right there actually has bubbling on the art, I guess from the cold foiling process. It has bubbling towards the top of it, which is really interesting. It's definitely like a misprint, and of course a lot of people wouldn't like that, but I think it's kind of unique actually. All that to say, as I go on yet another tangent, is that I started realizing how much I cared about these cards and how I wanted to, make a full set of these cards, of which I'm still working towards. So I started just trading cards that I wasn't finding joy in or value in anymore, even though, they are valuable cards. Like, I traded Felling of the Crowns away so that I could get more of these cards that are in this binder. And you might look at that and go, why would you ever do that? Well, it's a great question because now Stormstriders has banned in Blitz, and so Verdance might need those. But at the same time, I think I'm pretty happy with making the trade because for me, collection and collecting has now become a much deeper emotional experience. Like, I cherish these cards more than just, I got more Majestics that I can put into decks and things like that. These hit different. By the way, this Battalion Bark is one of my favorite arts. It's so tough with all of these cool pirate arts because there are so many playmats in my drawers right now, and I don't need any more. But I want all of the pirate ones, and I think I'm going to go through the same experience that I've gone through with collecting these cards. Yes, that's right, I am short 1 expedition. As you can see down there, the 1 cost expedition. Which, by the way, they should, if they bring Treasure Island to Classic Constructed, then you can play these, which is more fun. Portside Exchange, that's another interesting one. Doesn't pop as much as you would think it would, but it's a beautiful one of those micro text box extended art pieces. I think I take it out and we try to look at it. It doesn't have the same shine as something like a Tip the Barkeep. But maybe I'm going to get rid of a bunch of my other playmats, the ones that I don't find as much joy in. And I can keep my favorite ones, some of which aren't pirate related at all. And I can trade away or maybe sell the ones that I'm not as connected to so that I can get more of these pirate ones. I need one of those Tip the Barkeep playmats. I actually regret not getting a Gravy Bones playmat, the adult Gravy Bones one, while I was there in Taipei. Funny story, Chart the Course Yellow. Super cheap card. One of the cheapest cold foil pirate booty cards. So stinking hard to find. I can't trade for it. No one has it. And I'm short one Thieving Varmints as well. And then we go to this page, which is just a mutilation of missing cards, as you see there. Swindler's Grift. Don't have a lot of those. I could, of course, buy these. I've enjoyed very much trading for a lot of these cards. I have picked up many of them from MinMax Games and also from Hammurabi TCG. Love the way this Swiftwater sloop looks in cold foil. The birds and the sloop itself go very metallic at the right angle. I have 4 of those Swiftwater sloop blues and 0 reds, funnily enough. And I'm also missing the 3rd mutiny in its entirety. I don't have any of the 3rd mutinies, but I do have 2 out of the 3 battalion barks. I think I have 4 of the Nimbus Sovereigns, and I am 1 golden tipple yellow short of a full play set. And I love this card. This was a card I was very quick to start trading for, not because of power level, but because I think it's one of those quintessential pirate cards. It really represents what like a pirate does in my mind. You know, it's a pirate. They are going to sit back, get gold, drink rum, as you see on the card. And the best part is it draws cards as well, which is something I love doing in not just Flesh and Blood, but really all card games. And it's definitely one. I want to take this full play set and get it signed by the artist. Aloisio, I think is how you pronounce their name. Fantastic art. I really, really love it. I want to get all of them signed. I want to play them in every pirate deck that I can jam them into, and just look at the cold foil goodness. It's a great one. And I won't leave you dangling there because I do have all of my pirate allies as well. My good old Necromancer allies. By the way, if you're wondering, all the white cards that are sleeved are cards that are currently in my Gravy Bones Classic Constructed deck. So yeah, that's right, 2 Sawbones that are marvels. I opened one myself. I was really happy with that. Cutty Shark. I love Cutty Shark. I think its art is incredible. So much fun to look at. Shelly Hardened Traveler. I have 1 left I gotta find. Accidentally have 4 barnacles, 3 of which you can see there. But, you know, I guess it is what it is. One of the first cards I picked up, actually, it was a barnacle that I picked up. Several of these limpets that you see on this page. Got some oystins in there. I think I got a chowder as well from Righteous Gaming over in Taiwan. I picked up that Sunken Treasure that we looked at earlier in the video. A beautiful card. That was like the first one that I grabbed. Had my eye on it immediately. And it really, I think, kicked off this whole change in what collecting means to me. I'm really just, at this point now, I'm seeking after cards that just I really enjoy looking at. I enjoy like playing. I enjoy holding. I'm not really collecting the full set just to have the set. At this point, I'm really going after the cards that resonate with me the most. I have 2 Whaler Humperdinks and only 1 Marvel Scuba. Can you believe it? That's not good. Scuba's very cool. Yes, we have 1 in the deck because I've been on Prismatic Leyline since day 0. Prismatic Leyline is goated, and Scuba with that, not too bad. But for me, this experience has really transformed the way I think of collecting and how I interface with these cards. I'm looking at cards that I care about, and I'm actively trading. And that's another great thing, is that this has really encouraged more trading. At least for me, it's not just, going out and buying, but it's getting to the LGS and playing with friends and trading cards for other cards. And I'm happy to move certain cards so that I can seek after these other cards. And that, to me, has been one of the biggest transformations. So I hope you enjoyed this little deep dive into where I am in the trading process. If you like this type of stuff, make the number go up. As always, thanks for watching.